Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're diving deep into one of the coolest, most unique guitar tones in metal, the sound of Karukan from the legendary Japanese band Onmyo-za. We're going to break down exactly how he manages to blend these bone-crushing riffs with a really beautiful traditional aesthetic. It's an incredible sound.
You see, his tone is really a sound of two worlds colliding. On one hand, you've got all the power and the precision you need for these super heavy riffs, but on the other, it has this delicate vibe that fits perfectly with their whole yokai heavy metal thing. It's aggressive and beautiful all at the same time.
So, the big question is, how does he do it? Well, we're going to start with the most important part, not the gear, but the why behind it all. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of his rig, and finally, I'll show you the exact settings so you can try and bring a little bit of that yokai spirit into your own playing.
Okay, Section 1, the yokai metal vision. Before we even think about touching an amp, we have to get inside his head and understand the philosophy.
This right here, this quote is the key to unlocking everything. Every single piece of gear he chooses, every knob he turns, it's all about serving this one mission, finding that perfect balance where 1 minute you can play a brutal metal riff and the next, a really delicate traditional sounding melody.
And you know what's really fascinating is how his sound fits into the band as a whole. He's got this super technical, kind of flashy style, which is the perfect contrast to his co-guitarist, Shogi. It's that push and pull between them that creates that massive, signature Onmyo-za guitar sound.
So where do you get those insane chops? Well, look no further than the absolute legends of 80s and 90s shred guitar. We're talking the gods from the Shrapnel Records label, like Jason Becker and Paul Gilbert. I mean, when you see those names, his crazy precision and his melodic choices, it all just clicks, right? It makes perfect sense.
Section 2, the tools of the trade. All right, let's get into the fun stuff, the gear. We're going to start with his killer lineup of guitars.
The thing about Karukan is it's not just about one guitar. He's all about having the right tool for the job. So yeah, he's got his iconic ESP Sheiji model that looks amazing on stage. But for the really fast technical stuff, he goes for the legendary Ibanez RG series. And when things get quiet, he'll pick up a Gretsch acoustic for that warmth.
Section 3, the power core. Okay, guitars are one thing, but now we get to the absolute heart of his sound, his amp and his effects rig.
Man, this is just a beautiful classic pro setup. The brains of the operation is that legendary Marshall JMP1 preamp. That thing gives him a whole palette of different tube tones he can switch between in an instant. And then that signal gets sent to a massive Marshall EL34 power amp. And that's the muscle. That's where you get that raw, loud, punchy tone that only a Marshall can deliver.
Now, to add a little color to that core sound, he uses this really smart mix of old-school pedals and modern rack gear. So for grit, he'll kick on a classic Boss pedal to boost his solos. But for all the atmospheric stuff, the delays, the reverbs, he uses a powerful TC Electronic G major rack unit. That keeps everything super clean and programmable.
Okay, so we've seen all the gear, but you and I both know that just buying this stuff isn't going to get you the tone. The real secret, the real magic, is in how you dial it all in.
And what you see here is that he's got a real system. It's not about just cranking everything up. He builds his foundation first, gets that core EQ and gain sounding rock solid, then, and only then, does he start layering things on top, like a boost for a solo or some reverb for a clean part. It's all about control.
Okay, listen up. If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this number, 6 to 7. Karukan's tone lives and breathes in the mid-range. To cut through a mix with another guitarist, bass, and drums, you have got to push those mids. That's the secret.
So let's look at how that all fits together. See how the bass is pulled back a little? That's super important to keep the sound tight and not muddy. Then you have those big, powerful mids right there at 6 or 7. And finally, just enough treble and presence to add some bite. That's the recipe for a tone that sounds massive on its own, but never gets lost in the band.
Now I know what you're probably thinking. That's great, but I don't have thousands of dollars for a rack rig and a signature guitar. And you know what? You don't need it. The good news is you can get really close to this sound without breaking the bank. Let's look at some options.
For guitars, honestly, you cannot go wrong with something like an Ibanez RG. You get that fast neck, you get those hot pickups, you're good to go. For an amp, if you want real tubes, a modern Marshall like the DSL series is going to get you right in that mid-range ballpark. Or a good modeling amp like the Code 50 can get surprisingly close.
And for effects, a modern multi-effects pedal can cover all your delays and reverbs pretty easily. But here's the real pro tip. The secret weapon for getting this tone on a budget is a simple graphic EQ pedal, like the Boss GE7. That little box is your key to truly shaping your mids and making your guitar cut through, just like the pros.
So as we wrap this up, it all comes back to this one central idea. His entire rig, as cool as it is just a tool. It's a masterclass in making your gear serve the music and not the other way around. The gear exists to bring his artistic vision to life.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? A truly great guitar tone isn't just born from expensive gear. It's born from having a really clear vision. It's about knowing exactly the sound you hear in your head and then finding the tools to make it real. That's all for this explainer. Thanks for watching.